Some of you may remember a while ago I did a video on building the ultimate handling Cobra IRS, and I laid out my plans for what I wanted to do with the IRS, how I wanted to build additional parts that I wanted to add and things like that. Well, today we have some progress on that whole video from last time. I have all the parts that I bought for this project. I'm going to go over everything that I bought. Is there anything left off that list from what I originally wanted to do? Well, we'll find out when I go through the whole box and I'll show you guys everything. You may be wondering why there's two boxes. It's because two boxes are always better than one box. But all kidding aside, everything in this box is supporting stuff to go along with the IRS build. So I'll go over what's in here, but more importantly, we'll go over what's in this box. First thing, and the most important thing out of this entire build and what's in this box, is stickers. You always want stickers. Okay, all of this is just paperwork. All that can go over there. We'll start out with this since it's right on top. I've obviously unboxed a lot of this stuff, but a lot of things are still like in their original packaging. But this here is the differential torque brace. This is not included in the FTBR kit that I bought. This was bought separately, but this is definitely something you can add. This just basically will help stiffen up the IRS even more so than doing the bushings and the other things included in this kit. So this will hopefully improve upon what just the bushing kit itself will do. And these packages, I'll try and get close to this so everyone can actually read what this stuff is too. You want to look at that real quick. But these are the upper control arm bushings, and these here are the front differential support shims and washers. So this is just part of the actual FTBR kit that you can get. These here are just the fittings that go in the control arms for greasing the bushings. That's included with the kit. This package here, this is front subframe bushings with aluminum inner sleeves. That is something that's included when you buy this as the kit. This package here contains the lower control arm bushings, hard coated inner sleeve, and shims and washers. So this here is also part when you buy this as an entire kit. This here, it's still in the original packaging. Let's see if I can get a little bit closer so you can read it. But this is the Durlin isolated rear differential mount, the lowering mount, because I did get the milled cover. There's two different FTBR kits you can buy for this bushing kit. One includes the milled cover and the rear differential lowering mount. It does cost a little bit more, but I decided to get the better one overall. These here are not included in the kit. They are adjustable rear sway bar end links, of course, for IRS. I bought that separately. This is heavy. I believe this is the bushing removal tool. I haven't unpackaged this, but sure as hell sounds like a bushing removal tool, so I'm not going to unbox that or unpackage it. This here, I believe it's bolts that go, because I don't see any other bolts. I did get the bolts that have better clearance for the subframe. Like a lot of people have issues when you put water tires on, it hits the subframe bolt. I believe that's what these are. So I don't see them separately anywhere else. I could be wrong. I did unbox these once. but no, I don't want to say unboxed, unpackaged, because it's obviously not a box. But this is the cross-axis joints. I'll throw up a picture too. And these are not included with the kit. These were bought separately. Oh, never mind. Here are my low profile subframe bolts right here. So I'm not sure what this is. Maybe I'll, out of curiosity, you guys want to see what's in here? Okay, I wasn't too far off. They are bolts, but they're not the low profile subframe bolts. These are different, larger bolts that go onto the subframe. I believe these are the 14mm ones, and I think the ones that come stock on the Cobra are a little bit smaller size, and that leads to just a little bit more movement of the IRS itself, and these bolts fit a little bit tighter, so that will also help tighten up the entire IRS. Now the last thing for this box is the Ford Racing differential cover. This is a really, really nice unit. Very well made. Look how thick that flange is. Just so you can tell it's a really well made cover. And I'm going to get into a little bit more with this cover and some of the sealing issues that these covers have had with some people, and hopefully have a solution for this. So that'll be a little bit later in the video. Now that cover also comes with the bolts to install it with, but we are not using these. Solution for that is in this box, which I'm going to get into now. Now this is not IRS related. Some of this stuff is, some of it isn't. These are end links for the front sway bar. I figured the K-member is being replaced and long tubes are being put on. They're going to be right there anyway, so I might as well have new end links put in, and to go with that I also have sway bar bushings that will be going in. So pretty much since last year, all new suspension, shocks and struts on it. It had new springs, but it's getting different springs. So this year, the whole IRS stuff, these bushings, the end links, so basically the whole underneath the car is going to be brand new and replaced. These here are new spark plugs. Like I said, not everything in this box is IRS related. It's going to go to the dyno and the spring, so I already pre-gapped all these plugs, so they just have to fill them in when I take all this stuff down to the shop. In this box, it is IRS related. This is a subframe mount. I'll put up a description of this, and all this stuff I'll have linked in the description below. If you want to buy this as an entire kit, buy some individual pieces from all this, I'll have all this linked. This is basically 2 metal plates and some nuts and bolts, where this connects to the subframe of the IRS to the car, and just like the differential brace, it all helps to tie in and stiffen up the IRS much more than the current state that it's in now. This little box here is a bunch of bolts for the diff cover. You may be wondering, why did I get different bolts for the cover if I already have the ones in the stock ones that come with the mill cover? There's been a lot of problems with the Ford Racing diff cover leaking. A lot of it comes down to maybe it wasn't installed right, but there are a lot of people that do install these right and they leak. There was a Danny Johnson video that I found a while ago suggesting using slightly longer bolts because the stock ones that come with it and the thickness of that flange on that cover, it's good because it makes it really, really strong. But in theory, now this isn't 100%, but in theory, these longer bolts should clamp harder to, give a better seal on the housing with that cover. So I'm going to try that. I'll include the Amazon link for these bolts for the rear diff cover, but you have to get this specific size. When you click on the link, there will be a bunch of different options for which size that you want, and these are the ones that you want to get. You want to pick these ones up because it has the same thread count and the same pitch as the factory bolts. They're just longer. And the two things that I don't have, but they're actually arriving a few days after recording this video, is a lube locker gasket. I'll include that down the link below. And that lube locker gasket with these bolts for the cover, I should have no problems. There's been plenty of people that have used a lube locker gasket with excellent results. So I'm going to try that instead of having them go the regular RTV route, and hopefully I get the same outcome. Also, rear end gear oil. I picked up some AMS oil, 75 by 140. Luckily, my local Napa carries AMS oil products. A lot of the box stores don't, like AutoZone, Advanced Auto, and not even all Napas, but my local Napa does carry gear oil, and they carry engine oil for AMS oil, so I definitely lucked out on that. Because if you don't, you have to buy this separately, and even though the Cobra is not having all this stuff put on in the next couple of days, I just hate having to order stuff and having it arrive later. I just would rather have everything in one, big chunk of parts and bring it to the shop and not have to worry about stuff arriving later or stuff being on back order, because we all know, supply issues have been a problem with car parts for the past 2 years now. So that's all the parts that I got for this IRS build. You can buy just the FTBR kit and not buy the diff brace. You don't have to get the mill cover. You don't have to get cross-axis joints. You can skip all that stuff, because this whole kit together, and I'm pretty sure the way I'm going to do this video, you've probably been seeing photos of the parts as I've been talking about them. Then I'll throw up one of the total price of what everything costs if you're looking to do this. It's a decent amount. You're looking at $2,000 to buy everything that I have here, and that's just these parts. That $2,000 isn't including anything in the other box that I had with the oil and the gear oil and all the other stuff. That's just the FTBR stuff, was $2,000. But you may be wondering, why I went ahead to do all this, and that's because I went for a ride in one of the subscribers' cars. Wasn't last summer, I think the summer before. My timeline gets all screwed up sometimes. But anyway, we were at a Cars and Coffee, and he let me drive his Cobra, and he had the FTBR kit installed on his, and that rode so nice. And I had wanted to do this kit since I bought the car, and after riding in his car and then taking mine out, it was like a night and day difference as far as how well it handled and how well it drove. At that point in time, my Cobra was at its lowest point for how well it handled and how well it drove on the road. It still had the coilover road race suspension in it. Still had, the whole crappy IRS that's currently in it now, until it's resolved with all this stuff. But after I rode in his car, it's like, man, I really need to do something with this rear end on this car. It will also help eliminate wheel hop, which at my power level that I'm at is a real concern for braking half shafts and stuff like that if I start getting a lot of wheel hop. So I want to eliminate that as much as possible. And the overall goal that I had with this car from the very beginning was to have a really good handling street car, and all these parts are really going to tie that in for how I want this car to be and how it's built for me and how I want to be using it, during the summer times when I'm out driving. At the time of recording this, it's currently on a Saturday. I may put this video out immediately. I may wait a little bit, but I'm not really too sure yet. But as far as like a time frame reference, all these parts are going to the shop the following Wednesday, And currently this is at the end of January, towards the end of it. And the plans are right now for the Cobra to go to the shop at the beginning of February. That's what I was told as of a few days ago. They got a little bit backed up. They were hoping to have my Cobra finished by the end of this month, but it's looking like it's going to get started at the beginning of February. So that means the K-member, the long tubes, all this FTBR kit and everything else will all be done at that time. So it should be finished up within the month of February, and then it's going to go off to the dyno to get dyno tuned. And I'm not sure if I'm going to take possession of it back at home, or if it's just going to stay at the shop at his house until the weather improves and I can bring it back here. I may have it towed back to here because it has to be towed on a trailer down to the shop anyway. It can't be driven with, you know, these road conditions the way they are now. It's pretty crappy outside, and there's a lot of salt and salt residue on the roads, and I don't want to be driving in conditions like that. So I may have a trailer back here and then just stick it in my garage until the spring when I can hopefully take it out for a full summer of driving again like last year. So that's the whole plans for the IRS build. If you have any questions, leave it down below in the comments. I'll have a full review on what I think of the Cobra and this kit after all this is put on. You know, I honestly think this may end up being my favorite mod ever done since having the car. Despite the power it makes and everything else, you know, I'm holding reservation on saying it's my favorite mod, but I think I'll do a video a little bit later after I've, you know, had this for a little while in the car, I've been driving it, give my full assessment on what I think of it, and then, you know, kind of rank my mods, the big ones that I've done since I've had it, and, you know, where will this fall, like in a list of 5 top mods and stuff like that. If you enjoyed the video, please leave it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps the channel grow. And if you're just checking the video out for the first time, it would be great if you sub. There's going to be a lot more Cobra stuff coming up for 2023. Hopefully it turns out to be a really good summer. I have a lot of things planned that I want to do with the car. So, you know, we just need to get through the winter and, you know, get to the good driving part of the year. But above all else, everyone, thanks for watching.